Have you ever stood in the middle of your living room, calling your cat's name over and over, only to watch them sit there, completely still, ears maybe twitching just slightly, and do absolutely nothing? No response, no glance, nothing. And in that moment, a small, quiet thought creeps into your mind. Does my cat even care about me? You are not alone in feeling that. Millions of cat owners around the world have had that exact moment of doubt. That tiny sting of rejection from a creature that weighs 8 pounds and spends half its life napping on your couch. But here is the thing, and this is what almost nobody tells you: your cat heard you every single time. And what happens next? That silence, that stillness, that deliberate non-reaction is one of the most fascinating and deeply misunderstood behaviors in the entire animal kingdom. By the end of this video, you will never look at your cat's silence the same way again. Let's start at the very beginning, because to understand why your cat ignores its name, you first have to understand something profound about how cats see the world, and more importantly, how they see you. Cats are not domesticated the way dogs are. This is crucial. Dogs have been selectively bred for thousands of years to respond to human commands, to seek human approval, to look to us as their leaders. Their entire psychology has been rewired over centuries of living alongside us. But cats? Cats took a completely different evolutionary path. When cats first began living near humans thousands of years ago in ancient agricultural settlements, nobody trained them. Nobody commanded them. They simply showed up, drawn by the rodents that gathered around human grain stores, and they stayed because it benefited them. And we let them stay because they kept our food safe. It was a partnership of equals, not a relationship of master and servant. And that ancient, independent spirit, it never left. It is hardwired into every single cat alive today, including yours. When your cat sits there and does not respond to its name, it is not being stubborn. It is not being spiteful. It is operating exactly as nature designed it to operate, as a self-sufficient, autonomous creature who makes its own decisions about when to engage and when not to. But here is where it gets truly fascinating, because science has proven something that completely changes everything you thought you knew about this behavior. In 2019, researchers at Sophia University in Tokyo conducted a groundbreaking study that sent shockwaves through the world of animal behavior. They played recordings of strangers calling cats by name, and then played recordings of the cat's own owners calling their names. And what they discovered was extraordinary. The cats consistently reacted differently to the sound of their own name compared to other similar-sounding words. Their ears moved, their pupils dilated slightly. Some turned their heads. Their bodies showed clear, measurable signs of recognition. Your cat knows its name. Let that sink in for a moment. Your cat has heard you say that word so many times, in so many tones, in so many situations, that its brain has specifically learned to recognize it as meaningful. And yet, it chooses not to respond. Which means this was never about hearing. This was always about something else entirely. So what is really going on inside that beautifully complicated little mind? Think about this from your cat's perspective for a moment. In the wild, a cat's survival depends almost entirely on its ability to make independent decisions. When to hunt, when to hide, when to move, and when to stay perfectly still. A wild cat that immediately responds to every sound, every call, every stimulus in its environment would be a cat that gets eaten. The very instinct that makes cats such incredible survivors, that careful, deliberate assessment of every situation before reacting, is the same instinct that makes your cat look at you across the room and decide, not right now. It is not personal, but it is also not random. And this is the part that most cat owners never realize. Your cat is actually watching you far more carefully than you are watching it. Every time you call its name, your cat is running a silent calculation. What is the tone of your voice? What happened the last time you called with that tone? Are you standing near the food bowl or near the carrier that goes to the vet? Are you calm or do you seem urgent? Is this a situation that benefits me or not? Cats are extraordinarily good at reading human behavior, and they use that information to make incredibly precise decisions about how to respond. Think about the times your cat does come when called. Really think about it. It is probably when you sound excited and warm, when it is close to feeding time, when you are sitting quietly and your lap is available, when something in your voice signals safety and reward. Your cat is not ignoring you randomly. It is responding to a pattern of experiences it has built up over months and years of living with you. And if calling its name has sometimes led to experiences it did not enjoy, being picked up when it did not want to be, being put in a carrier, being given medicine, then your cat has learned, very logically, to be cautious about that call. This is something that stops most cat owners cold when they truly understand it. Your cat's silence is not indifference. It is memory. It is intelligence. It is your cat making a calculated decision based on everything it knows about you and every experience you have shared together. And now, here is the part that will genuinely change how you feel about your cat. Because there is another layer to this that goes even deeper than survival instinct or learned behavior. Cats, unlike dogs, do not have a social structure that requires them to respond to a dominant leader. In a group of cats, there is no alpha that commands the others. There is no hierarchy of obedience. Every cat makes its own choices. And when a cat chooses, truly chooses to come to you, to respond to you, to engage with you, that choice carries a completely different weight than a dog who has been bred and trained to comply. When your cat looks up from across the room after you call its name, pauses for a moment, and then slowly, deliberately walks toward you, that is not obedience. That is a choice. A free, conscious, independent choice made by a creature that did not have to come. And that choice means your cat wants to be near you. Not because it was trained to, not because it has no other option, but because in that moment, in that calculation it ran in its beautiful little mind, you were the answer it chose. There is something almost unbearably tender about that when you truly sit with it. But let's go even further, because understanding why cats ignore their names also opens a window into understanding the entire emotional world of your cat. And there are things happening in that world that most owners never see. Cats communicate almost entirely through body language, scent, and subtle vocalizations. Meowing, interestingly, is a form of communication that cats developed almost specifically for humans. Adult cats in the wild rarely meow at each other. They developed this vocalization over thousands of years of living with us, essentially learning to speak our language in the only way they could. But the flip side of that is that cats expect us to learn their language too, and most of us are spectacularly bad at it. When your cat is sitting near you and gives one long, slow blink, it is telling you something. When it flicks the very tip of its tail while lying still, it is telling you something. When it turns its back to you and sits facing away, it is telling you something deeply positive, that it trusts you enough to show you its most vulnerable side. These are the moments when your cat is responding to you, connecting with you, communicating with you, and they happen constantly, in the silence between all the moments when you are calling its name and wondering if it cares. Your cat is talking to you all day long, in a language you were never taught to read. And this brings us to something that every cat owner needs to hear, because it will fundamentally shift how you interact with your cat going forward. The way most people call their cats, louder when ignored, more urgent, sometimes slightly frustrated, is actually the least effective way to get a cat's attention. Because cats associate urgency and volume with threat. Every time you raise your voice slightly out of frustration when your cat does not come, your cat's nervous system registers something is off, and it becomes slightly more likely to ignore you next time, not less. The owners who have the most responsive cats are almost always the ones who speak softly and calmly, who call their cat's name once, in a warm, relaxed tone, and then let it go. Who have built up dozens and dozens of positive associations around that name, calling it before meals, calling it before play sessions, calling it for gentle affection, so that the cat's internal calculation almost always lands on, yes, this is probably going to be good. You can actually retrain this dynamic starting today, with nothing more than a change in tone and a handful of your cat's favorite treats. Call your cat's name once, softly. The moment it responds in any way, even just an ear flick, even just a glance in your direction, reward that. Not with excitement, not with loud praise that might startle it, but with something quiet and positive. Over time, your cat's brain will begin to build a new association around its name, one that leans much more strongly toward engagement. But more than any training technique, the most powerful thing you can do is simply understand what is already happening. Because your cat is not ignoring you out of cruelty or indifference or some mysterious feline agenda. Your cat is navigating the world the only way it knows how, carefully, independently, on its own terms. And in a world that constantly tries to make cats into something they are not, that independence is not a flaw. It is one of the most honest things about them. There is a reason people who love cats love them so deeply and so completely. It is because earning a cat's affection, earning its trust, earning the moment when it walks across the room and chooses you, that means something. It means something in a way that compliance never could. Your cat does not have to love you. It does not have to seek you out when it is nervous, or sleep near your feet at night, or follow you from room to room just to be close. And yet, quietly, in its own time and on its own terms, so many cats do exactly that. So the next time you call your cat's name and it sits there in perfect stillness, ears slightly angled toward you, eyes half closed, know this. It heard you. It knows you. And somewhere in that quiet, ancient mind, it is deciding how it feels about right now. And if you have given it warmth, safety, consistency, and patience, the chances are good that soon enough it will decide to come. Not because it had to, but because you are its person. And that, in the secret emotional world of cats, is everything.